You can't go wrong. This is Jamaica. I'm running into the workers that we work with, the people that I see every day. I love it. I'm going to enjoy my 2 years here.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ken. And also, as a reminder, it is International Education Week, so please make sure that you tune in to all of the offerings that our public affairs section is offering, alrighty? So once again, thank you everyone for joining today, Consular Conversations. My name is Camila, and as I said, our special guest today is our Immigrant Visa Officer, Ken.
Nice to be here. Thank you, Camila.
Alrighty, Ken. So we know, of course, that immigrant visas is always the hot topic. And I know our audience has a lot of questions for us. I'm seeing all of them come in already through Facebook, YouTube, and of course, Twitter. As always, please send in all your questions. But to start off, we are going to go over our current status update. So Ken, if you wouldn't mind going over our current operational status in the consular section, please.
Yeah, not at all. So the consular section is open for visa services at this time. However, they're at lower levels than normal. We're continuing to adjust our operational posture in response to changing conditions. We are communicating directly with immigrant visa applicants on scheduling appointments, and we encourage people to seek non-immigrant visa interviews to regularly monitor our appointment system for updates. Just be advised that right now for non-immigrant visas, it can take up to about 18 months due to current operating conditions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ken. And so if we just quickly go over each section, we know for non-immigrant visas, of course, we are offering a limited visa appointments right now that are available. Of course, please keep checking to see if other appointments become available. And if you do have an emergency, we are, of course, accepting those expedited cases. So please make sure that you ask for an expedite if it is a dire emergency situation. Ken, do you mind going over what we are processing in IV, please?
Absolutely. So we're currently offering some appointments each day. We have begun offering a limited capacity to the National Visa Center to enable them to schedule routine, documentarily qualified cases. We anticipate being able to gradually increase the capacity that we're able to offer through NVC. But this is very dependent. This is very dependent on the COVID situation.
Yes, and of course, I know many of you in the comments are asking if we are interviewing those cases from NVC. Yes, we have started interviewing those cases. Ken and I are doing them every single day. And of course, we are very happy to be interviewing everyone again. As a reminder, though, for our K visa applicants, you all have to schedule your own appointments. We do not schedule K visa appointments. Right now, the availability for K visas is actually not being taken. And what I mean by that is we are offering slots for K visas and appointments are not being scheduled. So please make sure that you go online and you schedule your K visa interview because there is availability at this time, okay? And then of course, when we go to our ACS unit, our American Citizens unit, as always, we continue to provide that emergency assistance, and we are also offering limited appointments. Please make sure to check our website for those appointment availability, okay? So Ken, I think it's time to go to our topic of the day.
All right.
So, we're both in the immigrant visa section and we have to deal with a lot of paperwork. But as more immigrant visas are being scheduled in the coming months, we always like to remind our immigrant visa applicants of the documents they need to bring, right? And one thing we find often during our interviews especially is lack of proof of relationship.
Right.
So why don't we go over what proof of relationship is? Would you mind talking about that a little bit?
For sure. So when we talk about proof of relationship, what we mean are documents or evidence that shows proof of an ongoing relationship between two people. In the IV world, that usually means evidence of a relationship between an applicant and the person that's filing for them, which we know as the petitioner.
Perfect. And so what types of documents do we look at when we refer to looking at documents for proof of relationship?
Okay, that's a good question. So I'm going to give you a few things, but feel free to add more if you can. The more, the merrier. So I'll start off by saying photos. Photos are always a good thing. make sure they're in they're chronological photos of your childhood. Those are always the best way to go. In addition, just so you know, cell phones are not allowed in the embassy. So if you're going to bring photos, make sure you print them out prior to the interview and bring them with you. We take school or church records, phone records, any type of chat logs, insurance documents, co-owned assets, or a copy of the petitioner's passport pages showing their travel history.
Perfect.
Just to name a few.
Yeah, of course. And then, Ken, why don't we explain why proof of relationship is important in the entirety of the immigrant visa process?
So the importance of that is we need to make sure we establish that there's an actual relationship between our applicants and whoever's filing for them. Without proof, in a lot of cases, you'll find that while we're adjudicating, the civil documents cannot prove relationship by themselves. So it's important that we make sure we have added proof to help your case and to help your case move more efficiently, if that makes any sense. Usually, if you don't have what we need, it could cut back on your processing time. So just make sure you have more than you need. That'll help you.
Thank you so much, Ken. And as we're talking about documents, why don't we refresh our listeners on the other documents that are needed for your immigrant visa? Why don't we start off with those civil documents you were talking about?
Sure. So the civil documents we're speaking of, they're usually the original birth certificates, the original marriage certificates, original divorce decrees, original death certificates, if necessary. We need to make sure that they are original when they're issued in any other country outside of the U.S. If they are issued in the U.S., you can bring photocopies.
Perfect. I know we always have questions on police certificates and validity. So why don't we go over how police certificates work?
Sure. So before your interview, you just want to make sure that your police certificate is still valid. So check your issue date. Usually your police certificate is temporarily valid for 2 years after the issuance date.
So make sure you look at your issuance date at 2 years. If it's already expired, please go and get a new police certificate. And also, as a reminder, if you have lived in any other country over 6 months, you do need to bring a police certificate for that country as well.
That is correct.
So say if you lived in England for 7 to 8 months, even if you were studying, you do need to bring a police certificate for that other country, okay? And Ken, our favorite financial documents. What financial documents do we need people to bring? All
right, so financial documents it's probably one of our areas where people miss documents and it slows down your process. So when filling out your affidavit of support, make sure you provide the petitioner's 2020 tax form 1040, as well as the W-2. Or they can bring their 2020 IRS tax transcripts, which is available on irs.gov. If you have a joint sponsor, the same applies for them. The only difference is that they need to be able to provide proof of their legal status in the U.S. So that could be a photocopy of their naturalization certificate, a photocopy of their green card, or a photocopy of their U.S. passport.
Perfect. And of course, your medical exam. Please make sure that you try and take your medical exam prior to your interview date.
Right.
And as a reminder, your medical exams are valid for 6 months after your medical exam. With current CDC guidance, we would like to remind everyone that all immigrant visa applicants are required to be vaccinated against COVID-19. So especially if you know you are waiting for your immigrant visa appointment even,
right,
please make sure that you get vaccinated. And for all your vaccines, make sure all your vaccines are up to date so that when the time comes, your medical is not delayed because of that. Especially recently, we've been receiving a lot of delays in receiving your medical exams because of lack of vaccinations. So please make sure that you take those necessary steps to complete your vaccinations prior to coming to your interview. Okay? So Ken, I think it's time to take some questions.
Absolutely.
So first, I just want to answer a question from Legend. I know our YouTube fans are out there. So they're asking, I've been documentarily complete since April 2020, and my priority has been current for the past 3 months. Any idea as to when I would be able to get an interview date? So at this time, we do not know the DQ date that NVC is scheduling. That is up to the National Visa Center. If you have other questions regarding the dates that they are going through, I would suggest that you reach out to NVC directly, because we do not have control or oversight over those days. The reason that is because we also, it depends on your category, right? So NVC is the ones who schedules those appointments, and they are the ones that could give a better or more accuracy on where we currently are in the appointments we are getting that are documentarily qualified. Okay. Right. I also saw a comment that someone was saying their Jamaican police certificate expired after a year. So we do know that at the bottom of the Jamaican police certificate, it does say valid for 1 year.
Correct.
But as you were saying, Ken, there's a blanket waiver, correct?
Correct, which will extend the police certificate 1 more year. So overall, you'll have 2 years.
Perfect. Okay, let's see some other questions. So yes, I know a lot of you are asking for those DQ dates. Unfortunately, we do not have those available. I'm very sorry. There are people asking about vaccines. The best recommendation I can give is to visit the CDC website, because they give all of the specifications on what it means to be fully vaccinated in order to get your medical exam complete. The actual exact link would be cdc.gov/coronavirus/2019-NCOV/travelers. And from there, you would put if you are an international traveler, or even for those US citizens watching, it also has what is needed on there for international travel at this time. Okay. Let's see.
You just taught me something.
Yeah, of course. Okay, Valerie is asking, when will the embassy be taking visitor visa applications? So those would be our B1, B2, NIV visas. So I know we're offering at limited capacities right now, correct?
Correct. So what's going to have to happen is you will just have to stay tuned and listen to our updates on our travel.state.gov, which will kind of give you some sort of guidance on the process, the wait times. We don't have we can't give you any exact numbers at the moment, but just stay tuned and just go to travel.state.gov. We'll give you the most up-to-date information you need.
Perfect. Okay, DJ has a good question. They're asking, I've been waiting to hear about my immigrant visa interview since June of 2020. So of course, we have a backlog of those immigrant visa interviews, but we are, as I've said, starting to interview all of them. And we are scheduling those cases from MVC. But they are asking, unfortunately, during that time, my visitor visa expired. Can I renew my tourist visa?
So with that question, it's a complex question. However, you could try. However, that there's no guarantees in the fact that you will get your visa, but also understand that there's a long wait time. So if you decide to go that route and apply for your NIV, understand it could take a while. We have a long wait time.
But also, as a reminder, we do have our interview waiver program for non-immigrant visas. So if you have had, say, DJ, if you've had a visa for 20, 30 years and you're just trying to renew it, then you can send it through our interview waiver program, okay? And as Ken says, even through the interview waiver program, there is no guarantee that you will be issued through it. However, it is a way for you to be able to send in your passport a little earlier than waiting for that appointment, because you are renewing, right? So please make sure that if that is an option that you can take, that you go forward with that. So again, I know many of you are asking for NVC. A lot of you are saying that NVC has no appointment dates. That is not true. when we give NVC our availability,
Right.
what they do is they schedule each month. They don't normally really do it, a year ahead of time.
Correct.
They normally do it a couple of months before your interview. And also, as a reminder, if you are the petitioner, meaning you are the person who filed for your family member, please make sure to keep checking your email, because when we actually first started interviewing those NVC cases,
Mhm.
we had a lot of people that were not showing up
Right.
because they did not see that they received an email from NVC that
Correct.
their appointment was scheduled. So,
And can I add to that?
of
And just
course,
ensure that your telephone numbers and your email addresses are valid for when any type of correspondence. It always makes the process a lot more efficient once we have your accurate information.
yes, exactly. So for Jason, he said, I said that NVC sets up the interview dates, but Kingston has started interviewing. That does line up, sir. NVC schedules the interviews for us, and we conduct the interviews because NVC cannot conduct the interviews.
Right.
However, we do not schedule them. The scheduling is done through NVC unless you are a K visa applicant, in which case you need to schedule the appointment yourself. Okay. And also, whenever we do these lives or even put any, consular items on our social medias, I promise you we are reading these comments and we are trying to evaluate as best we can how we can shift our process or give you guys as much information as we can, right? But the best thing that you all can do is, of course, not only tune in to Consular Conversations, but look at the other videos and posts that we have put to better be ready for your interview when the day comes.
Absolutely.
Because, of course, if you come to your interview and you do not bring all of the documents that we talked about earlier, you will unfortunately be put in administrative processing, which does make your case go on a little longer and you will have to wait a little longer, right? So we all have to be, unfortunately, pretty patient, but also flexible.
Absolutely.
And we know many people are frustrated right now, but we do thank you guys for tuning in, for asking these questions. We know that sometimes we can't get to all of the answers, but we do always appreciate you all tuning in. Alrighty, so unfortunately we have come up to time today, but we would like to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. Like I said, we do read all the comments, even after we are done with the live portion of our day. So please make sure that if you have any other questions, you put them in the comments, and we cannot answer all of them, unfortunately, but we can answer as many as we can. Or again, if you look at other videos that we have posted, I'm sure the answers can be found through there.
Absolutely.
So once again, thank you so much for tuning into Consular Conversations today. We hope to see you all again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.